Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
Great to be here.
Today we are diving deep into something that I think quietly eats away at hours from every professional's week. It's this massive yawning gap between the time you spend at work and the time you're genuinely productive.
It is the defining challenge of the modern office.
Yeah.
And the statistics, they're just brutal.
They are.
If you look at the research, the average worker is only truly focused and productive for about, 2 hours and 53 minutes in an 8-hour day.
Wait, under 3 hours?
Under 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, statistically, you're leaking almost 5 hours of potential progress every single day.
5 hours a day, that is staggering. It feels like this tidal wave of inefficiency.
It is.
But the good news from the stack of sources we pulled for this, with insights from leaders like Rachel Horowitz and John Furno, is that you don't need some huge productivity overhaul.
No, not at all.
This deep dive is all about the micro strategy, these tiny, deliberate 10-minute habits that can stop those leaks and help you reclaim that lost focus.
And that's our mission for you, the professional or the learner tuning in. It's about extracting a high-value strategic playbook. We're synthesizing these minute-sized tips that protect your cognitive energy.
And sharpen your focus.
Exactly. We're trying to turn that feeling of scattered, busy work into real, measurable progress on the goals that actually matter.
And what's immediately clear from looking at these top executives is that their highest leverage strategies are often incredibly simple. They boil down to just 10 minutes of focused work.
Right. You see Rachel Horowitz, for example. She defines just a handful of high-value goals at the start of any major project.
Which cuts down on scope creep, right?
Instantly. Or you look at Scott Farquhar. He doesn't obsessively track every second. Instead, he spends 10 focused minutes reviewing his calendar each week, just to make sure his time is being spent strategically.
And of course, the consistent message from Arianna Huffington, who is always stressing that the absolute foundation for clarity and good decision-making is just getting enough sleep.
They're all small shifts, but with massive strategic outcomes.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with what the sources are calling decision protection. If our energy is finite, the first thing we have to do is, protect our brain from making endless, trivial choices.
Absolutely. The first high-value move you can make in the morning is spending, say, 10 minutes max, defining your 3 most important tasks, your MTIs.
And this isn't just picking 3 things off a giant to-do list.
No, it's a high-leverage decision. It prevents decision fatigue for the rest of the day because you've already decided what winning looks like.
And the criteria for choosing them are really critical. You're not just picking the easy tasks.
Not at all. You're picking the ones that specifically reduce future stress, or maybe they unlock the next stage of a project.
Or they just directly advance your key objective.
Exactly. If a task doesn't hit one of those 3 criteria, it doesn't make the cut.
Which is, I think, the perfect lead-in to the most famous prioritization tool out there, the Eisenhower Matrix.
Right. We all know the 4 boxes. Urgent, important, not urgent, important, and so on. But the real strategic insight here isn't just, categorizing. It's what you do with the bottom 2 boxes.
You're talking about deletion and delegation.
Precisely. Everyone gets fixated on that top urgent, important box. But the real power move, the true decision protection, it comes from committing to deferring or deleting the tasks that are not important.
It forces you to prioritize the important but not urgent work.
The strategic, deep focus work. You prioritize that over the merely urgent interruptions that are always screaming the loudest.
So it's basically a defensive mechanism for your attention. I like that. But okay, that idea of deep focus, it needs time and space. How do we move beyond just a list of 3 MTIs and actually make sure they get done?
So we shift into what we can call power planning.
Okay.
This moves beyond a simple to-do list. You're time blocking those MTIs directly into your calendar. You stop seeing your calendar as just a schedule viewer.
And start treating it as a living system.
A living system that dictates your actions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the sources really emphasize getting granular here. I think it was Justin Grossbard who recommended blocking out these dedicated 25 to 90-minute chunks for deep work.
Right.
But if you're blocking time like that, how do you handle the inevitable, the interruptions, the tasks that just pop up?
That's where the strategic nuance comes in. When you time block, you use 2 types of blocks. You have your hard time blocks. These are non-negotiable appointments for your MTIs. They get protected.
Like a meeting with your most important client.
Exactly. And then you have soft time blocks, which are flexible windows for things like admin, email triage, or unplanned calls. If you treat your hard blocks like a client meeting, you protect your best cognitive hours.
That distinction, hard versus soft blocks, that's incredibly valuable. And this planning isn't just a morning thing. David Allen brings up this idea of previewing the hard landscape each evening.
The nightly check-in.
Why is that 10-minute check-in so effective?
It's all about alignment and emotional readiness.
Yeah.
By scanning your fixed commitments for tomorrow, your meetings, deadlines, presentations, you identify the demands before they hit you.
So you can align your highest energy hours, usually the morning, with the hardest work.
And you wake up ready to go. You're
Yeah.
not wasting that peak energy trying to decide what to attack first.
That makes so much sense. But what happens if we've done all that? We've aligned the energy and we still just can't start. What do the sources say about breaking that initial paralysis? Overcoming inertia.
This is where we get into these psychological micro-starts. The 5-minute promise is brilliant. It's leveraged by leaders like Kevin Systrom.
How does that work?
The technique is simple. You commit to only 5 minutes of work. You tell yourself, I only have to work on this proposal for 5 minutes, and if I hate it, if I get stuck, I can stop.
And the magic, of course, is that the energy it takes to start is so much higher than the energy to continue.
Exactly. Once
Yeah.
you're in motion, momentum takes over.
Yeah.
And off of those 5 minutes, they turn into an hour of really focused work. We trick the brain.
I like that.
And there's a variation from therapist Risa Williams called the ridiculously easy first step. If starting a 20-page report feels overwhelming,
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
you just make the first step painless. Just open the file, type a title, write one single line. You bypass that inner critic that demands perfection from the very first second.
So the real insight isn't the typing. It's about reducing the cognitive load to basically zero. You defeat perfectionism before it can even stall you. And then there's the counter move, the famous 2-minute rule.
Right. If a task takes 2 minutes or less, just do it now.
This feels like more than just clearing tiny items.
Oh, it's a mental hygiene strategy. Those tiny tasks, sending a quick email, filing a document, they become these large, annoying mental anchors if you let them pile up. Clearing them instantly frees up a ton of mental bandwidth.
Okay, let's shift a bit. Let's talk about why these micro habits have such massive strategic value for business efficiency. It's all about using your energy where it generates the highest impact. And that starts with prioritizing like a pro, or as it's called, eating the frog.
This comes from John Furneaux's recommendation. You tackle the toughest, the least pleasant task first thing in the morning, when you have your peak cognitive energy available.
It's a huge psychological win.
Huge. When you finish that frog early, you know the hardest thing is done. The rest of the day just feels lighter, more manageable.
But the challenge isn't just doing the frog, it's protecting the time to do it.
That protection strategy is everything. You have to protect that block from interruptions. Ryan Smith, for instance, he avoids all lunch meetings
Why is that?
because he recognizes that crucial midday block is often the best time for concentrated work. So it means setting clear boundaries. No meetings, limited phone or email, and letting your team know you're in a deep work block.
And the sources say to track it, right, to make it stick.
Yeah, cracking the streak of finishing the frog gives you this tangible visual measure of progress. It boosts your confidence, and it proves that these 10-minute commitment decisions are actually translating into real work on your key goals.
Okay, next up, we have to tackle the giant killer of modern focus. Communication overload. Email, chat, notifications, it just fragments our attention relentlessly.
This is maybe the biggest strategic bottleneck today. The firm recommendation is to set only 2 short, dedicated email windows daily, maybe late morning and late afternoon.
That's a hard habit to adopt. I can hear listeners pushing back now, saying, but I have to respond immediately. My boss expects it. How do you actually implement that without disrupting the whole team?
You have to shift the culture towards asynchronous communication for non-urgent tasks.
What does that look like?
Cal Newport's work strongly suggests moving ongoing projects, status discussions, all that general back and forth out of email and into dedicated task managers or shared documents.
So email becomes just an input system.
Or for truly immediate needs, but it is not a project management system. This one change dramatically cuts down on the ad hoc back and forth and that expectation of an instant reply.
It reframes email from a management tool into just a simple notification system. And when you are in those email windows, efficiency is key.
Absolutely. You use efficiency hacks, you implement templates, canned responses for routine questions and updates, you follow Sheryl Sandberg's preference for short, clear messages. Every email has to move the thread forward.
It prevents ambiguity and saves everyone minutes that, quickly add up to hours.
All of this points toward a higher level of optimization through systemization and automation. Wade Foster's advice is perfect here. Don't be a robot, build a robot.
That's the strategic shift.
It is. Identify your repetitive workflows, anything that happens consistently but doesn't require, deep human judgment. Email triage, drafting status updates.
Updating templates.
And automate them. Using automation tools reclaims all those fragmented hours for high-leverage projects that actually drive growth.
Plus, we need to talk about batching. Why is grouping similar tasks, all your calls, all your writing, all your admin together, so critical for sustained efficiency?
It's about reducing the context switching cost.
That invisible tax you pay.
That's it. Every time your brain switches from writing mode to analytical mode or from email to coding, you pay that tax. It takes time and mental energy to reorient. Batching keeps you in a flow state. Your brain stays in one mode, which increases speed and reduces errors.
And to maintain the whole system's tidiness, which is so important for psychological calm, the sources stress the one-and-done rule.
Capture everything immediately. The moment a new task, a new idea, a new commitment appears, you capture it. Right away. Into your list, your calendar, your task manager.
It keeps things from slipping through the cracks.
And more importantly, it keeps your mental bandwidth free of worry and clutter. Your system, not your memory, should be carrying that cognitive load.
Okay, before we wrap up the tactical side, we have to address body-first productivity. You just can't out-hack a system that's built on a depleted physical state.
Oh, this is non-negotiable strategic planning. Arianna Huffington's relentless emphasis on sleep is so key. Pushing through fatigue might feel like you're working harder, but you're just trading temporary speed for major errors and compromised decisions. Clarity starts with rest.
And it's not just the big things, it's the 10-minute maintenance checks too.
Yeah.
Like starting and ending the day with water, staying hydrated.
That supports steady energy and reduces those snack-driven crashes that derail your focus later in the day. And intentional movement breaks are vital. Tim Ferriss notes that the brain uses up neurotransmitters during intense focus.
So it needs to recover.
It needs brief recovery. Stand up, stretch, take a short walk for a few minutes. These micro breaks maintain your attention without losing the deep momentum you worked so hard to build.
Okay, let's tie this entire deep dive together. The ultimate accountability tool. The 10-minute weekly review ritual. This is the feedback loop that makes these habits stick and really optimizes your trajectory.
This is the pinnacle of system refinement. Scott Farquhar's audit is built on 3 extremely simple, high-leverage questions you have to ask yourself during this 10-minute review. It's accountability without the judgment.
So, question 1. Did I achieve what I intended? That checks your execution against your MTIs.
Then question 2. Did I personally need to be there in that meeting, that commitment? This checks your delegation and presence strategy. Were you truly the most valuable person in that room?
And I think the most important one for future optimization, question 3. Could the same outcome have taken less time?
The answers to those 3 questions become immediate, actionable steps for the next week. You use that data to decline commitments, reassign tasks, or just radically update your plan for Monday. This ritual ensures your efforts are consistently optimized.
So what does this all mean for you listening? It means running a friendly, low-stakes experiment. You don't have to overhaul your entire life today.
No, just pick one habit from 3 categories to test for 1 week.
Okay, so 1 planning habit.
Like defining tomorrow's top 3 tasks and time blocking them into your hard calendar slots.
1 focus habit.
Like using Kevin Systrom's 5-minute promise to break that psychological barrier on a tough job.
And 1 recovery habit.
A short 10-minute walk or a dedicated hydration break to reset your energy midday. That's it.
Practice those 3 things daily and let the cumulative gains reshape your work. Small, repeatable steps are the fastest, most sustainable way to lasting strategic success.
And what stands out from all of this is that every single minute you invest in planning saves 10 minutes in execution.
So the provocative thought we want to leave you with is this. If the average worker is only truly productive for 2 hours and 53 minutes?
What if the greatest competitive advantage isn't working harder, but simply ensuring you maximize the precious few hours you're genetically capable of being truly focused?
Thank you for tuning into the SmartKeys podcast for this deep dive into small habits with big impact.
You now have a high-leverage playbook to reclaim hours in your day, anchor your priorities on your calendar, and ensure your best cognitive hours go to high-impact work.
And if you want to review all these tips from the Eisenhower Matrix to Wade Foster's advice on building the robot, the full article, 10-minute productivity tricks, small habits with big impact, is a really comprehensive resource.
We strongly encourage you to subscribe to the SmartKeys podcast to keep getting high-value strategic insights like these every week.
You can find the link to the full article in the show notes. Until next time, keep optimizing those minutes.